Perfect Terror Podcast, episode 108, Lamar. We've done a terror films double feature.
Yes, we have. We got screeners for two films. We got Last Radio Call, which comes out 14th, and then Evil at the Door, which comes out the 21st of January. Both of them come out January. So we're going to compare these two films. And Joe, different feels,
yes,
I would say, for both of these movies.
Yeah, first of all, terror films, never really heard of them before that I can think of.
Yeah.
They're coming out with their own like YouTube video on demand channel. So, and I guess they're launching it with these two movies. So it's a good...
an interesting variety, Joe, because... which one do we start with?
Well, I watched Evil at the Door first, so I don't know.
As did I.
Okay, then we'll start there.
Okay.
AKA not The Purge.
And not Panic Room. Yeah. Okay. So the story is there's this, it starts off with this image, this video talking to some people. They're called the Locust, right?
The Locust, yes.
They're
underground group of some kind.
They're underground group of like masked killers.
Yeah.
And they go out and they, I guess, kill people, and they have like tattoos that show.
But they only get to kill once a year, and they have a time limit of 180 minutes.
Yes.
So, and that's that, right? Like,
yeah,
it's them terrorizing a family.
Yeah. We'll just call them a bunch of people that happen to be related, because you have like this douchebag kind of like guy that's dating this woman. She's like a kind of like a housewife that has a sister that's in trouble.
Yeah.
None of this is ever like really explained, and that was like that's like the main thing I have a problem with, because it's like explained that, okay, the husband has problems at work, never comes up again.
Yeah.
The sister is in an abusive relationship,
and
never comes up again
as well.
And she's an addict. But that's never, I forgot about that. That's never brought up again. So it's just like.
Yeah. And then the other lady takes the longest bath in the history of film. She goes away in this movie to take a bath, and she's in there for like half an hour.
I thought she was going to dissolve, Joe. Because, okay, she goes in there, she does a little bubble bath and stuff like that. And also she must have the loudest sound system connected to a record player.
A record player, which plays music that's all unrelated. It's like a mixtape, but it's a record. That shit made me laugh.
It's a custom mixtape record. We just don't know about this type of stuff, Joe. Because,
played by, who I said before, Sunny, I think her last name is Doich, who was supposed to be the original Gabrielle in Xena, but she turned it down because she didn't want to move to New Zealand. So now she's in this. But, definitely was borrowing from those two movies, like you said, Panic Room, and then The Purge. It had that, but it did have like an interest. I like the concept of the underground group.
Yes.
They had their own set of like rules. They had their tattoos, like you said, and everything. Like all that stuff, I was interested. But they didn't really go very far with it. Like, I was wanting to learn more, and you didn't really get more. So.
Yeah, it had a foundation, but it didn't build up on it. Because like you said, I wanted to know, like, okay, like, how did this start?
Yeah.
All this kind of other stuff. Because then okay, we got to go to the guys. There are interesting characters. There are stock characters.
Yep.
And that's the problem. Like, you have one guy that seems like he's been doing this for a long time. He's the leader. Mm-hmm. Then you kind of have the hothead. And then you have just blonde man who's just there, kind of.
Yeah.
And then you have this is the first guy, the other guy. This is his first time doing it, but he's
Yeah.
a coke addict.
Yeah, there was a lot stuff, and then there's like a guy that comes at the end to clean up after they're, after they do all the killing and stuff. Which even he, like, I was like, well, that could be an interesting character to know about and stuff.
Yes.
So I did like the ending. We won't spoil it because it's not even out yet. But yeah, I did like the ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of brutal, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
it was just the stuff in the middle was just a little, like how much can you linger on a woman in a bathroom or a girl under the bed? Like something, it's got to develop a little more,
Yeah, have some more tension between those guys, that kind of thing. I thought that's what's going to happen. Like this guy, like the newer guy was going to be like, crazy, and they have to contain him and all this, but no, he just wants some coke.
All right, well then we watched The Last Radio Call.
Yes.
Which was basically a found footage movie about this woman. Her husband was a policeman. He went on a call to like a mental asylum of some kind.
Yes.
And then he disappears. So she's making now a documentary about like what happened to him and stuff, and all kinds of supernatural things start happening, and there's a Native American ritual at play probably, and there's all kinds of other stuff with this haunting, and then shit happens.
Yes.
Supernatural shit. So that was that one.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one.
Yes. The tone, the atmosphere. I like the found footage stuff.
Yeah.
I like because it's kind of shot more in a documentary style.
Right.
I feel like there was more at stake. Like we were learning. They explained things, Joe. That helps stories. So that was interesting. Like you said, with the Native American ritual, all that kind of stuff. And it's just like you want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a good, different kind of horror thing going on there. So,
yeah. And for the, I mean, if you think about like the whole found footage thing, I guess has been played out. People seem kind of like over it and stuff, but like this, it worked well for this.
It did.
It had a good feel and stuff. So, all right. So comparing the two, we were going to say like overall, I felt like Evil at the Door had the best plot. That Evil at the Door had like the most potential for being the best plot. Because it had like a whole backstory of this, organization and stuff, but they didn't utilize the plot. Which, like, I was like, damn it. It was like most of this movie is like them just kind of lingering around in the house.
Yes.
And stuff. And it was like, you could have set this up. Like, what's going on? Like, all this. So, yeah, I thought it was a little bit of a letdown for plot for me. So,
I agree wholeheartedly. Because the time thing could have been used as a factor. Like if you're going to have that time factor in there, have the people that they're terrorizing being trying to like get around and escape and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you keep on going back to time. That would have been cool.
On the surface, like just in text, it could have been the better plot. Also, they could have utilized like, did they pick these people to kill for a specific reason? Or did they just do it at random? Because then you could have maybe had some like kind of backstory, like what we were saying before, like the man in the family, like he's having some work problems stuff. Maybe he fired one of these guys or something. Who knows?
Yes.
Like you could have gone a lot of different ways with this, and they didn't. So yeah, Last Radio Call at least had a through line that made sense.
They followed up on things. They called back to different things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which was the most scary for you?
I thought Last Radio Call. And I don't even like jump scare movies. Mm-hmm. But this one, I feel like it took its time because of like they went into like certain environments that, fit with it. Because other movies are just like something just
Yeah.
jumped. No, they're like looking around. It's found footage, that kind of stuff. So I thought that one was scary, and the way they shot it was really good too. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, I'm not for the jump scare thing either that much, but it did have a overall vibe to the whole film that was more creepy. The Evil Out the Door was more like a thriller, and
yes,
once again, it had potential to be more thrilling because you really could have felt for the people and stuff, but like for the most part, the villains were meandering, so
yeah,
it wasn't like it didn't have the tension that it could have had, you know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I guess what was the other one?
characters.
Or oh, okay, characters. Well, geez, I mean, I'll give it to say this: like, Evil at the Door did have the more variety of characters.
Right.
It's just like you didn't get enough of them, which
Yes.
which is the theme of this movie. It's like you have good stuff, but we don't get enough of it.
Yes.
Because like you said, the one guy was a douche, but the sister comes to live with him, and she has like addiction problems. She's in an abusive relationship. Like, none of that came into play.
Yeah.
All the guys from the organization there, like, there's an assortment of guys we don't know anything about them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And well, going back to like last radio call,
Mm-hmm.
it has just a couple of characters, but I
Yeah.
feel like they all had something interesting about them that was kind
Yeah.
of fleshed out. Like, we see like the woman who's the wife of the
Yeah.
guy that goes missing,
Yeah.
and then his partner, he goes through things, and then you have the different, I guess they were shamans, you find out about them. So yeah, it was just more fleshed out. That's the thing. Evil at the Door needed fleshing out. Evil at the Door was an unsatisfying appetizer of a
Yeah.
bunch of things.
Yeah, it had good potential.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. Like, they didn't utilize all the good stuff they had, you know?
Right. Yes. So
Sheesh.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will say this though about Evil at the Door. It had a couple of kills that were more satisfying. I guess if you're into, I mean, it's a horror movie, so you expect the kills. So
Here's my thing on the kills. It took too long to get to them.
yeah,
That's the part that got me, because you're just, like you said, they're just walking around meandering and da-da-da-da-da, and you're just like, okay, I know they're supposed to kill. It's a time limit. Let's come on. So yeah.
yeah, because the kills in Last Radio Call, like, it was kind of cool. Like, it was ghostly and stuff, but at the same time, it was kind of like, meh. It wasn't that impressive or anything like that.
So
So
yeah.
well, should we give them both a rating, or should we just give terror films an overall rating?
Well, let's say this: terror films. We're definitely going to look more into terror films,
Yeah.
because this is our first. I think these are our first two films.
Yeah, I think so.
First
I'm
two
not sure.
films. So we're not going to rate them as a whole. Let's just
Okay.
rate the movies, and then I feel like I know which one wins. So
Okay.
yes, for me,
Mm-hmm.
Evil at the Door is a 2.5. It has something. They just didn't do anything with it. That's the problem. Yes.
Yeah.
Last radio call, I will give a 4. I think it's interesting what they did. They had how it was shot. They had an interesting story. I liked last radio call. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Evil at the Door. It's right, just kind of in the middle, just not doing anything. It's a 2.5, and it had a lot of potential to be something cool, to take concepts that have been done in other movies, do something a little original, but they just didn't get there.
Yeah.
Last Radio Call was much better.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'll say 3.5.
Okay.
You know, it was fun.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely want to look more into terror films though. See what they got going. They got the YouTube thing coming out, so be kind of cool to see what else they got in the pipeline there.
We're gonna be looking at your stuff, Terra Films. That's not a threat or anything.
Yeah, they
It's
don't
just
care.
yeah. So, yeah.
They're like, oh,
Oh, okay.
who cares?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Alrighty, well that wraps this one up. The Terror Films double feature, Evil at the Door and Last Radio Call. Peace.
Deuces.